Boom. So yeah, formality. So we have Jithin James with us today, and if you do not know about Jithin James, so Jithin was a computer science engineer, and he refused to sit for placements because he wanted to get a machine learning job. In like he wanted to become a machine learning engineer, which is like a very noble goal, right? And
Wow.
but it took like then COVID hit, and it took him a while to like get to that point of working and building up the resume and experience to like get to that point of getting it. And I'm not going to go deep into it, but he did manage to like get to that point. He's interning right now at BentoML. He's the first employee from India. So we're great. I mean, like, we're super grateful to have him share his story with us. We're going to record this and put it on YouTube so other people can learn from his journey. And great to have you here with us, JJ. Maybe you can
And
enlighten us with your story.
yo, thanks for the great intro. And also, like, if my mic is not working, please do tell. I'll
Perfect.
adjust that accordingly.
And
But yeah,
also,
thanks again.
I guess like if anyone do write out your questions because he will be taking all the questions. So yeah,
Yeah, put
JJ.
them in the chat, and we'll go through them at the end. So, but yeah, again, thanks for the intro. And like I said, my name, like he said, my name is Jithin, and I was like a part of the first cohort. And it's actually a funny story because like I wasn't actually planning to do the first cohort. Like I was like more of like I was working at a startup, and I thought I would help these guys with all the organizational bits, and that was the plan until sadly one day my manager called up and said we are closing down the startup, and that was it. So I was out of a job really quick, but that is when I thought, okay, anyways, I am in like a perfect opportunity to validate what we are doing. So I took on the challenge myself, and now I'm doing an internship with BentoML. But before that, I want to go way back to my years at college, where like all the open source things and all started. So like when I went to college, I knew about open source. I knew it as like something I could do potentially to get money, and also something that would be really great in my resume. So that was the main goal because I knew about GSOC. GSOC was like would give like if you do a GSOC in your college, you will get a lot of money. Also, you get a really nice stamp of approval from Google on your resume. So that was my main thing with open source. That was what my understanding of open source was when I joined. So I went on to like the GSOC organizations page. I took up each organization, and I tried to find something that was like that I could relate to, that I could contribute to, and I was trying to find out that perfect organization. So I went through a lot of repos. Like Adarsh was also starting off in the same. He actually like did the thing in second year, and I was also applied to one thing, but I couldn't get it. The this again happened in the fourth year. I tried to apply, but I couldn't get in because like one thing that was stopping me is I was not consistent. Like for example, like Adarsh has started way before the proposal period of GSOC is. That is like 5 months and or before. But I was just like I would just enter the organization just for putting up a proposal, and the maintainers could see through that. So that was one like major thing that I realized a couple of like maybe years down the line. That was I was not being consistent. But my first true experience with open source was in Pycon, where like in Pycon, like they have something called dev sprint where maintainers actually come in and you get to sit with them and they'll help you onboard on a project. Like it is just like 2 days of fun geeking out with your other fellow geeks and maintainers of open maintainers, but like you get the maintainers with them. They are in the same room, so you get a lot of feedback from them. So like I was really into machine learning all through college, and at dev at dev sprint I found an organization called Hanger, and like I was actually I went to a dev sprint that was actually for PyTorch, but then the maintainer actually was like there was no not a lot of beginner PyTorch issues that you can take up. This is something else that I'm doing, and maybe you can have a look at this. And it was actually like not like really. It was not a big project. It was a very small project. Three other people were building on top of it, and that was it. It was a very small project, but it was related to ML, and it was something that I was really passionate about. That was one highlight. But I thought, okay, anyways, it's 2 days. I'll give this a go, and I started working on a simple project. But because I had this ML, no, like I was working on PyTorch and all these things, I found this project like it clicked in. Like I understood what the project was, what the goals of the project was, and stuff. And this is something I could relate to. So that was one thing, because I found an organization that like I found a project. It was a very small project, so the bar of entry was really low. Like I wanted to contribute to PyTorch, but I ended up contributing this thing, which was the best thing that happened. Because like down the line, okay, the 2 days were over. I couldn't actually get anything done, but I was in touch with the maintainer. His name was Sharon. So I was in touch with him. I used to call him up, say, okay, what can I do to help? So he'd tell me, okay, there's something like this. Okay, and I went in. It was a small issue. Then I told, okay, I want to do a blog post on you guys, like on your project. And I went, and when I did a blog post, it was my first like proper blog post that I had done, and I covered the project. And slowly that was one thing I did for the community or the project. And then I found one like they wanted to do like the organization called TensorWork was working on another project called Storeroom. It was basically model management and that sort of stuff, but the idea was really fascinating. So I teamed up with the Sharon, the maintainer, and I worked on that for a month. We were trying to hack together something for a hackathon, and that was like super helpful because I am working with a proper maintainer who's like really experienced, and I'm pushing my shitty code up to GitHub, putting the PR, and he would give me like his comments, which help like that. Like during that interaction is when I still remember like the first like I knew how to code. Like if you give me some task, I could do that. I know how to Google it. I know how to do all the Stack Overflow stuff, and I can do it. So I just did that, and I put up a PR. The guys like said, okay, it's a good thing. This is your first step, but this won't do it. And he actually like took that project and he redid it. And that is when actually I understood what was the difference, what like people always say that like there is a difference between good code and bad code. And that is the moment I actually understood what was that. Like it was a, like, because I was working on the same project. Someone more experienced actually redid that for me. So I could know what the thought process was. And that is when I understood that this is a super efficient way of getting these kind of feedbacks, because like the maintainers are at the top of their game, and they are like spending the time and energy to polish up your work so that it is actually so that the whatever contributions that you make, it is up to the standards of what their code is. That is the goal. But you get so much feedback that you won't get like even when you're entering your like first few years of your work. And I'll come to that in a bit. But so like I was working with this project for now at this point for about 6 months or something. Like, and the thing is, like, I met another person called Rick, who was another guy who was working on the same project, and he was like really helpful. He actually helped review my resume so that I can apply to other companies. He actually told me all like how I should polish my stuff, and lots of like feedback. He gave me some really like warm intros to some people. And that is how I met another person called Luca, who we'll be bringing him on the call for our next coffee with the maintainer. But like through this experience, I was improving my network, right? And that was the second thing, because like I get a lot of feedback from my for my code, but also I got to improve my networking because I'm meeting up, I'm getting on calls with these maintainers. I'm actually building a relationship with different maintainers and improving my network, and like interacting with them also like helped me get into that world of like high level engineering, or we will say that their world at least. So that was that. I tried to get an internship there, but at TensorWorks, which is the company that was like responsible and maintaining Hanger, but I couldn't get in because they were actually looking for people who was more experienced, and that was an important point because I knew, okay, they wanted to hire me, but they didn't have like it was these three guys were trying to what do you say, bootstrap this company together. So they wanted to hire me, but they were not like they didn't have the enough resources to hire me and also then train me and all those stuff. So that was one thing. So they weren't at a position to hire some people. So okay, I got that. Then I got a job into a company called Trell in India, and I worked there for 3 months. But then that was totally different because like for open source projects, like when you're working on a closed source project, no one is going to look at your code. So it's not the quality of your code that matters. What matters is getting the stuff done. It's two different things, but somehow that felt weird. And also like I was like all like the working at a startup was different because I was actually more focused on the engineering side of ML than the actual analytics side and stuff. But anyways, so I stepped down from there, got into another startup that Adarsh had to introduce me to one of the founders there, and then that is when and then I did that for a couple of months, and then that startup had to like fold, and that's when I was actually looking to contribute to something else. So the story with Bento was like a year back, I saw a article on Reddit where these guys were just had their alpha version, and they put up a post saying we are doing this, and I was really interested. So I went on to that project. I went on to the Slack group. I started interacting with the maintainers. I like because I had some experience with open source with Hanger. I knew how it worked, how all the open source stuff and how I should interact with the maintainers and all that stuff. So I tried to help these guys with the blog post so that they can improve their reach. And I was not a constant. I was not contributing code to them, but I was contributing, like I was helping out people on the group, like on the Slack groups. I was trying to write up blogs to help help improve their reach. I was tagging them on Twitter for a lot of small things that I thought would help other users of Bento and stuff like that. So all through 1 year I was actually in touch with them. And so the maintainers actually saw that there is this guy who's actually doing some sort of work for the company, and actually saw that a couple of months before they put up a tweet saying they're actively looking for hiring because they were funded and they were actually actively hiring people. So when I was doing when I thought I'll do the first cohort of our first programmer, I knew that I should be consistent and I should focus on one project if I have to get the best out of that, because I can't be contributing to 5 small different issues on 5 different organizations. That won't be effective, and it's more effective and I can make a bigger impact on organization if I just focus on one single organization and go further on that organization. So I decided, okay, I choose BentoML, and I started working with them on a few projects. And then, because I knew, okay, there was a opportunity that if I can do something to improve, maybe I can get the internship, because they are actually looking for like interns. If they are like, so I knew there could be an opportunity if I did really well. So I tried to do that. I tried to make as much of an like impact I can, and then I used to like be in charge with the maintainers, and that was an important thing because I was talking with another manager, like maintainer, and like somehow like after I think that after some I think it's 1 or 2 pull requests, like we got on a call and he actually offered me saying, anyways, you are on like Bento, so we would like to like sponsor your work, and maybe we can do something like an internship. And that is how I got opportunity of working as an intern there. And right now I'm like 3 months down the line, and it has been an experience like working on like it like the whole thing was okay, I'm just going to do this for free anyways. But because I had like it, I won't say all like being like place at the right time, but then I was able to get that opportunity. But yeah, that was my whole story. But then like now it's like, if there is anything that like some key advices that I would want to give, like as someone who has done this just a month before you guys, and to get the best out of your projects, try to find a organization that you actually connect with, and then go all in on that organization. Like it's not like you don't the idea you don't have to get a job at that organization or something. The idea is that only if you're consistent, you can actually put like do like tackle the bigger contributions and tackle the bigger issues. And like that, when you talk about those bigger issues in your resume and in your interviews, you'll see through that and see, okay, this is someone who can tackle the bigger issues and who's consistent with that. So consistency for me was something that I was really bad at, and I actually learned that from my friends like Adarsh and Shahul, who's not there, and Abhijit. But that was one important thing. Another thing was like sharing all my work, because of my because I used to blog. I was actually like, it is not like to like give blogging a go, and I was trying to help these organizations out. And but because of that, the maintainers of the organization knew me, like this is some guy who has written a blog about us. But at least they knew that much. And then another key thing was try to like get in touch with the maintainers, because like you are doing them a lot of help by contributing to their open source, like in whichever way you are doing a lot of help, and they really appreciate that. So like, but like if you go further and like find them on LinkedIn, try to like chat with them on LinkedIn, try to get on a call with them. Like they would love to get on a call, and do things stand out, and focuses on to make like try to make a genuine connection with these maintainers, because like you never know who like they would like, it's like helping out a friend. So, and that is how like all the maintainers actually helped me out. Like it's not like they just wanted to like help me out, and that's how they just gave me all those intros and stuff. And like I still think back and sharing their like advice and all, like I wouldn't know as much as I wouldn't be in this position. It's all because of like someone else took their time to invest in me, and that is something that everyone would like, all the maintainers would do, if you show them that you are someone who has the potential. And like it's like that, like who's someone who's doing like a lot of stuff for their project and who has a lot of potential, and just try it out. Like, so these are some of the things that like really helped me out when I'm thinking about it. And yeah, that's the story, I guess. Hope it was not too boring.
It was very interesting, JJ. Thanks for sharing that. So I think takeaways for me is like, instead of the project, the most important thing is the people behind the project, right? Like the people in the community, and then comes the code. So always choose people and the community first, and then go for the project.
Yeah, man, definitely. That is for everything. Like companies you go to, everything, I guess, for life in general.
Right.
The people.
And so yeah, guys, we would be taking questions right now. So I think the first question. Oops. Oh yeah, the first question.
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. So just ask question. You don't have to like hold back. You don't have to put in chat. You can just like use the audio. So I guess the first question is in the chat. You wanna? It says, how can I start contributing? I'm totally demotivated if I see any project. How, I think imposter syndrome, right? What's your advice?
Like this was me in third year of college. So I can totally relate. So like, what are your interests in? Like, I would start with that. Like, what programming language do you choose? All that stuff. But then another thing is to just get started. I know it's easy to say, like, even I thought of that. But then even though it's like, try to find something that is, it's like, okay, like that is actually trivial for you. And try to do something small in that. Okay, it could be maybe like making a blog post. That's how I got started. I made a blog post for a project that I was really interested in, and like try to start off with that. So the one thing about contributing like that that I realized is like you can't contribute to a project that you don't know anything about. So like when I was looking through all these projects, I would see a lot of interesting projects, but when I go into the issues page and when I am trying to find an issue, I can't understand what is happening. And one reason was I haven't used that project, so it to take some time to get up to that, and that is why I would say start off with something small. And yeah, Puneet, if you want, like, do ask questions. Like, if you have any follow-up questions, something related, I could maybe help you out. We could help you
out. Puneet, you might be on mute. Or you can put it in chat. I think meanwhile we can move to the next question. So anyone has any question, Bharat?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hey Jithin, thank you very much for sharing that, because it puts a lot of things in context. Since I've been in the program for a couple of days now, I've been looking at a lot of repos, and it kind of feels like your journey. It feels like that you went through the whole process of being involved with the communities, talking to the moderators, and taking your time around it. Even though you were agitated inside, wanted to do it faster, but then it happened naturally for you. Do you feel like a week or 2 weeks is a really good time that will be able to land up to a repo? I mean, I know that's the idea of the program, but what are your thoughts around that?
Like, first of all, like, you can do it, but yeah, like, it could be, I wouldn't say it could be too tricky, but you will have to like set your expectations to the correct way. So like the whole idea is to try to get everyone where you can at least put in their first PR in, and that is entirely possible in 1 month, because like we can help you figure out the repos that would be the best, what do you say, place for you to put in your efforts. So that is where we won't help you out. But so yeah, it is possible. Don't worry about that. But yeah, you'll have to like take your time in to find out that organization, because like that would pay like its dividends down the line. So like if you can find out like even if you take 2 weeks down to find your like just to find a project that you are like that you really can connect with, and you just put put in, like always the hardest, build on top of that. And that is where we want to like bring it to, like show you that okay, this is like after I put the first PR, I was like, okay, this is all there is. And that is the feeling that we want, like we want you guys to understand that that is where we want you to get. But so like take your time on finding the project. I know like it can be a bit hard to find.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. So let me like. So how about this? So, like, let's say in the program, I find out a few projects that I can get behind. But eventually, once I learn the process and I become really, like my peers are getting merged and everything, I should consistently, even after the program, consistently keep looking out for one project, like, BentoML for you, that I can really, really work with, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, that's right, and it's it comes naturally because like when you contribute something to a project, you become emotionally vested into that project, and that is how you are actually like you feel that pull to contribute to that. It's like working on any open source project is like being part of a community, and that is the whole idea of the thing, right? So yeah, so like slowly you'll get that ball going on, and then it will be something that is just a part of you. But you are are you looking into contributing to Mattermost? Like I saw it on the chat, I guess. Oh no, Adarsh was mentioned.
Yeah, I saw that. So yeah, that was a great question, Bharat. Like, can you still hear us? Are you on? I think we can't hear you. Oh yeah, there you go.
Sorry, there are issues on my end. But I got the most of it. Yeah, I got most of it.
Okay.
I have another question, Jithin, if you can,
Yo, man, definitely.
Yeah. So every repo that I access, basically what happens is almost all the functionalities for a certain SaaS app or anything are almost built in. Like if I'm looking at Brave browser, like everything's built in over there. If I'm looking at VS Code, things are built in over there. The issues that are arising are really far ahead, and in order for me to really probably understand all of that, I need to understand the code a lot more before I just start looking at the issues. So there's that disconnect, but then I start tried looking at reps which probably haven't started like only have started like a year back or something, and have some stars, but really couldn't find something in that space. I hope I'm explaining my question properly.
Yeah.
So there's that disconnect, like the good projects are really far ahead, and the ones that I really would probably be really engaged with, because now I'm actually building a major part of their functionality. They're hard to find for me, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Like this is something that everyone faces because like so for like say for example some like I knew a maintainer who was actually have you heard of the library called Keras? Like it's part of TensorFlow right now. So like he was like he's like right now the number like second most biggest contributor. I'm not sure right like what he is right now, but he joined that community like way back when it was like very small, and he had a lot of stuff to do because like it was a very small project, and he could find like because it was a small project there was a lot of stuff to do. The same thing was for PyTorch. There's another maintainer called Luca. He got involved with the PyTorch community when it was like really small, when it was at 0.1 version or something. And that is the thing with all these big organizations. It's very easy to get into when it's very small because naturally the code base is very like new, and there is a lot of stuff you can do. So always focus, like when we are starting, always focus on stuff that is like pretty new. For in your case, you are into React, right?
Yeah.
So for React, like I am not like a really good, like really into the whole JavaScript ecosystem. But one thing is like React has a lot of helper libraries that do like various esoteric stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we can actually get into with React, but again, the thing is, um, like getting involved in the initial stages, how that's the tricky stuff, because all the good things that you hear about, they're already established and the functionality is in place, right?
Yeah.
And until unless like if you're part of a community already and there are people, like let's say we become good friends and Jithin and others are starting something a year down the line, and they know me and they feel like my work's good, they might just give me a ping and I'll be contributing
Yeah.
to it initially, right? But other than that, I see that it's hard for people to get involved in initial processes because even the marketing is not there for that product. So yeah.
Yep. One thing you could do is like right now you're coding in React. Try
Yeah.
to see all the projects that you're using right now and see if you have any complaints, issues, and stuff. Because like it this like we won't actually be thinking of it, but there is always issues with things that we are using. This is one way that we can contribute, like especially in React, right? If there is like some also Abhishek, can you explain about open source? Like because he's also into React.
Hey guys, my name is Abhishek. I work at a product company and I basically work on React. So before I landed this particular job, there is this particular guy called Brian Douglas. Now he's now gets one of the developer advocates. So he was one of those person who was working on some other field other than the IT. And then he wasn't able to support his family, so he tried a lot to to learn. So I think in his initial days, he used to just sleep around 4 to 5 hours and then do his full-time job and then learn Ruby on Rails and stuff like that. So do check him out on Twitter, and he is very active. So he started with something called open source. So open source is so if you go to that particular repository, it is the most updated React thing. And I was in touch with him till I got my job. Then, as I got a bit busy, I couldn't, keep in touch. But he's one of those people who would get you to, get to know how to contribute to that particular repository and where you can start on it. So I think if I will share his links and all that social networking on the Discord channel so that you can check him out also. So yeah, I think open source is a bit more advanced React, as he's very technically update per day. All the new React beta features and all that stuff he implements it there. So do check it out. I'll drop the links in the Discord too. Yep.
Thanks, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Please do. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Also, the same thing for Python. Some that like me, if I were to do this again, what I would do is like for Python, there are a lot of packages that are coming up for the MLOps space, because like MLOps is something that is like a lot of changes are coming up on that space. So all the tools are very new and all the tools are really small. So I'll try to focus on that. So maybe trying to figure out some areas of React that are new could be one thing. But yeah, that is just one advice that I thought might help. But yeah, we totally understand it is hard, and hopefully we can get. And also like try out the Mattermost community, because like another a person, like we have some contacts with the maintainers there, and we know that they are really helpful. So that could be something. But if I get any links like leads, I'll share it on the.
Thanks, Jithin. Thank you for that answer.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. Who's going next? Anyone else? Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Siddhan.
Yeah.
So this question is about confidence. So usually when I started out programming, initially the confidence was really high when you start out. You are discovering something, you are doing something, and you're exploring. It really shoots up and possibilities open up. Then, as you gain experience, I realize that there is always a better way to do this. I'm not doing it the optimal way, right? So I'm doing something wrong. Maybe this is not the most efficient way to do it. When I discover some other project and read through their project, they have layers and layers of abstraction. And when I look at something, they have classes and they have subclasses and they do a lot of inherited stuff, which I'm not very accustomed to. So when I see all these things, I feel no matter what I do, there is always a better way to do this. And maybe what I'm doing the way it's not the best way or the right way to do it. So it really sinks me down. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I have a quote on this. They say like premature optimization is the root of all evil. You can't aim for you can aim for perfection, but you cannot optimize for perfection. I always optimize for shipping rather than perfection. That's just my philosophy. Maybe like JJ.
No man, like the same thing. Like I totally agree with that, and that is exactly what I was going to say. But like for me, I was like I didn't actually know anything, and because of that, I was really confident because like I didn't know I was how much of a how much shitty code I could take out. So I just put out anyways. But and down the line, I got like people told me, okay, this is shit. You have to do this. But the thing was like for me, what works now is don't be afraid of that. We are like people are going to there would be other better ways to do it, but getting like focus on getting it done. That is what I do. Try to get it done, and over time, with all these feedbacks coming in, we will like slowly get to a point where it is good, and that's only good because like you can't like for even if you for whatever you're doing, you can't put your perfect first draft. You have to go through the shitty draft first. But it is because of that shitty draft that you can then later on bring changes in and do some stuff like here and there, and then the final thing comes up, and that is what you show to everyone. So you're like you think, man, this is super good. He put out this perfect stuff like in one go, but we don't see all the like the shitty drafts he made before that, and that is like something like that I think of just ship it, and then we can optimize on that later, and we get a lot of feedback, and that feedback is great. And I tend to be afraid of like, okay, what will people think I'm putting up like shitty things, but over time I got over that and just focus on shipping. Maybe that could help.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just like, and also like this is something I forgot who mentioned this. Yeah, Ed Sheeran. What Ed Sheeran told, he had an example of dirty faucet, where like if you have a dirty faucet, the first time you open it, the water will be murky, the water will be very bad. But after you like keep the faucet running for a while, the same with anything that we produce, right? Just keep at it, and initially, like after a while, things start to become really good.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Siddhan. Interesting question. So yeah, anything else, folks? Like any follow-ups? Any?
Can I ask a question, JJ?
Yeah.
Yo.
it's just what are the negative feedbacks you got along the lines of your open source contributions? Or I mean, some negative feedbacks you learned a lot of stuff, right? So can you name if you like how that changed you? Like, is it the code quality or what was that?
The biggest feedback was my code was shit, obviously, but like specifically, like okay, most of the negative feedbacks were related to the code quality. But do you want me to go into specifics?
Just about the like something everyone could understand, like
Okay.
what specifically should everyone should focus on.
Specifically, okay, one thing that like everyone, like all the maintainers were trying to say to me in my earlier thing is try to make everything that I write very modular, so that if it's a function, that should be very modular and it should be able to work even if it's even if it's a standalone thing. Like it's like basically it's like we are creating abstractions upon abstractions, so that we just have to focus on a few things and we don't have to focus on what's happening behind the scene. And that is like something that I learned the most, and that has helped me a lot. Like always making things very modular. I don't know if you guys can get that.
Like functions, right? Like splitting it into like different
Yeah.
chunks of code, right? Like that's what you mean?
Yeah, for function stuff with, and for classes also, like yeah, man, like I would recommend, like even I'm like the thing is I'm not an expert of these things, but
Yeah. I'd say you're talking about your code being self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
Even the files and the function classes and the traceback should be easily understandable for anyone to know. I think it's one of the best feedback that everyone gets.
Yeah, man, it's the most awesome thing that everyone gets. But there is a book called Pragmatic Programmer. This is like a super interesting book because it's like all the things about a programmer should have in mind about code quality, about like all the work that you do. So check that out also. I'm just reading it, so I wouldn't want to.
Awesome. We'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll check that.
Yeah, thanks for the great question, Abhijit. Really insightful. So yeah, any other questions, folks? Like anything about what JJ does in his free time, or you know, and yeah. But by the way, like, do you want to mention JJ's a traveler? Like he's going to buy a
I am an
bike
aspiring traveler.
and you know, travel across India while contributing to open source.
Yeah, man, that is the dream.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, any other questions? I guess yeah, we had some great questions. Like if there's no more questions, we can wrap this session up, right? So yeah, I guess that's it. I guess like there's no more questions. Do let me
So,
know.
man, definitely.
Just a comment over there, yeah.
Yes, so is that in your itinerary, JJ? Are you gonna stop by Chennai?
Yeah, man, Chennai, Pondicherry, and Auroville, hopefully. Like
Where are you now?
Right now, I'm in Kerala, Kochi.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Great session, everyone. Like great questions.
Yeah, great questions also. Like, thanks for all the wonderful questions.
Thanks for sharing your story with everybody at
Like I had more fun.
yeah, like the open source challenge. Like, we really appreciate you sharing it, and like I think, I hope this story gave everybody like a push to keep going, like not chase perfection, and like, find a mission, even if the mission comes late, get the skills to get to the mission first, like you gotta like upskill yourself to be ready for the mission. Like it's like those astronauts, right? Nobody becomes an astronaut first. You gotta learn how to fly those planes and jets first and then become an astronaut. Yeah, bad analogy, but still. Thanks a lot for everyone for showing up, and thanks to JJ for coming and like dedicating 1 hour of his very precious time to like share it back with the community. If there's like any follow-up questions, do drop it in our
Yeah, do
Discord
drop it on
channel.
Discord.
And anything else, you can just ping JJ. He's always gonna be in a community. His Discord username is JJ Machan. So yeah, with that, I guess we're gonna wrap up this session, and I think since good night to everybody, and good morning, good afternoon, like depending on what time zone you're
Wherever
from.
you are.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Thanks for attending.
Awesome.
Yep, guys. Thank you so much, JJ.
Next one.
Awesome.
Thanks.
See you soon. See
Chalo,
you for
bye,
the
guys.
retrospective
Bye,
call.
guys.
which
Thanks
is
for
gonna-
doing this, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Bharat. So there's going to be a retrospective call. This everybody who's participating in the open source challenge. We have a retrospective tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. So where we reflect on our week's failures and what we can improve the next week. It's like a fun exercise. It's like in group we just like jump onto this collaborating tool and like we move, like if you're familiar with what retro is, it's like one of my favorite activities to like host. So yeah, see you for that, and let's hustle some, make some contribution. See ya.
Yes, guys. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.